So on Friday, we were talking about simplifying radicals, and we said radicals and square roots, that word is interchangeable, right? And we talked about perfect squares. So perfect squares are examples like the square root of 16, the square root of 1, where you multiply that number by itself, and you get what's underneath the square root. If you don't know what the square root of a number is, what can you do to find it? Use your calculator, right? So in your calculator, if you have this one, it's the second, and then the x squared button right above it is the square root. You can plug in any number. Now, if it's a perfect square, it will give you a whole number. If it's not a perfect square, it gives you a decimal. So remember, we started with the square root of 72 on Friday, and that gave us 8.5. And I said you're not allowed to have decimals as your answer. Yeah? So then we went through the different steps. So the first step is to find the prime factorization. And what's prime factorization? Okay, we're going to lowest prime numbers. And what's a prime number? A number that's only divisible by itself and 1. Okay, so step 1 is to find the prime factorization. Step 2 was to circle your pairs. And then step 3, remember my dating story? So they go on, the couple goes on a date, and then everyone else stays at home? You remember that? Okay. So let's see how much we remember. And let's take the square root of 96. So we'll do this one together. We'll do this one together, and then I'm going to have you try some. So if I take the square root of 96, and I break down 96, what are two numbers that multiply to 96? 12 and 8. Okay. And let's keep going. Now, 12 can break down two different ways. It can break down to 6 and 2 and 3 and 4. It doesn't matter which one you choose because the prime numbers that you get will be the same. So I'm going to do 3 and 4. You're going to do 3 and 4 also? Okay, good. And then 4 breaks down to 2 and 2. 8 breaks down to 4 and 2 and 2 and 2. And those are all my prime numbers. I'm going to circle my pairs. What do you see pairs of? 2s. I see a pair of 2s and another pair of 2s. Right? Okay, so remember, that pair leaves the house and goes on a single date together. This pair leaves the house and goes on a single date together. And then what happens if you don't have a pair? You stay inside. So what's left over? 3 and 2. Okay, the 3 and the 2 are left over. So just like we multiplied on the outside, 2 times 2 gives me 4, you also multiply on the inside. 3 times 2 gives you 6. And if you want to check to see if that simplified square root is the same as the initial, plug them both into your calculator and you should get the exact same decimal. Why don't you try, how about 84? Why don't you find the square root of 84? All right, what two numbers break down to 84? 12 and 7, okay. And then you're breaking 12 down. If you did what? 4 and 21? That's fine. You're going to get the exact same answer. Because you should have a 3, 2 2s, and a 7 at the end, right? Yep. So it doesn't matter how you choose to break this down, as long as it's correct, like the numbers multiply properly, because you get the same prime factors at the end. So I have a pair of 2s, so that 2 comes out, and what's left over? The 3 and the 7. So 2 square root of 21 should be your final answer. Okay, try this one. Find the square root of 30.
Oh, question.
Answer.
3 and 10 or 6 or 5?
Either one. So if you break this down to 3 and 10, or 6 and 5, it doesn't matter. 10 breaks down to 2 and 5. Do I have any pairs? Which means nothing comes out and everything stays inside. So my final answer is the square root of 30. You can't simplify it anymore.